All right, so in the video today, we're going to be installing this Monza free flow exhaust system. Part of this installation, you'll also need a hanger. This is the hanger assembly that we need right here. This is the center hanger assembly. Also, if your vehicle isn't damaged, you'll need the rear hanger assembly as well. Um, I'm not going to be installing that because in my case, the rear hanger mount on my MG is torn out and it's not going to be used. So I'm going to also be showing a custom hanger for my solution. So that's where we're going with this. The Monza exhaust system and all the installation from the downpipe back. Now, on my downpipe, this particular exhaust system refers to a hook it on the front pipe below the catalytic converter. Well, on my MG, I have an older model head installed onto my 18V engine, and so it does not have a catalytic converter. It has an older style of downpipe. So we're going to end up making some adaptations to this resonator right here, and I have a whole nother video on that. But just FYI, this Monza will work whether you have the Monza exhaust system will work whether or not you have a catalytic converter or not. So you just minor little adjustment to the system, and it'll install just fine. So let's go ahead and get started and have a look at under the car. All right, so this is the mock-up. I've kind of placed it in place where it's going to go. You can see I managed to get the rest of the exhaust in there. The center mount was not damaged, so a standard mount worked just fine in there. And there's the resonator that goes on up to the front. But the trick here was just to get to this point right here so I can measure where these brackets are going to end up in respect to this bracket that I'm going to make. So just like everything, you mock it up, measure twice and cut once, and then still expect to bang on it with a hammer. But that's where we're at on this, moving forward. So while I'm down here, I've gone ahead and marked the downpipe where I'm going to cut it, right here, and I've marked the new resonator pipe where I'm going to cut it. Now, when this is brand new, it comes with a flanged edge here. So I'm gonna rent a pipe expander, and we're gonna flange this end right in here, from about here to there, so that we can receive this section of pipe here. This downpipe is for a 74 early 70s model, but this resonator is for a pipe or an exhaust system that would have had a catalytic converter. So they're just slightly different. You have to make a little modification to make them work. But we'll make those adjustments, and I'll cover that in the video as well, to how to expand a pipe. So you don't have to buy union pieces and have all kinds of connectors everywhere. Simple as best. All right, so we're going to cut these up, and I'm going to go ahead and work on that, fabricating that connector at the back. The first thing we're going to put is we're going to put this down pipe in place. You can see I've got a bunch of goop around here. That goop is this JB Weld muffler seal. JB Weld's a great brand. I use a lot of their products. They have a really good line of epoxies, epoxy putty and whatnot. This stuff is heat resistant up to 850 Fahrenheit, which is just ludicrous. There's no way. If this thing gets up to 850 degrees, the car's on fire, and forget it anyway. This is a skin irritant, so don't be touching it. And if you do, wash your hands or use gloves or whatever. I'm less inclined to use gloves and more inclined to just not touch it and then wash my hands if I get it on there. That way, if you use gloves, you tend to be sloppy and messy, and you got gloves on, so you'll touch everything and it'll get everywhere. So if you use a bit more discipline and use your hands and just keep things clean, then it's just as well. Anyway, so you can see I've got a couple of little 2x4s here. This thing is fortunately flat, and it's easy enough to put into place. So the trick here is just not to make a mess. And the other end of that is these flanges are not helping that effort, because they always want to come down to the bottom here, right? So the trick is you get it up into place, and then we're going to wedge it into place with these 2x4s, and then I'll be able to put a couple of pilot screws in place, and then we'll have things together. Not really going to lend itself to a video, but I'll try to grab some pictures as I go. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put these little metal gaskets in. These are the union points to go between the manifold and the up and the down pipe here. So we're going to go ahead and throw these in, and then I'm going to put a liberal layer of that goop around the edge here that will meet with the manifold. And again, it's going to be kind of a two-hand job, so I won't be able to get a good video of it, but I'll get some pictures. So here you see I got the little 2x4 holding it up, and I got one screw holding that first flange on right there. You can see it. One screw right there yet. Now I just put that nut on without any washers or anything, just so I can get that up in there. Then we'll put the washers on the other ones, come back, pull this one off, put a washer on it. But that's the exercise. Just need to advance these up there, get one little nut on them, and then everything will be copacetic, and everything will line up, and you can get those washers in real easy. It's kind of a hard access to get to. You'll have to use a lot of extenders to get those nuts and bolts tightened up, but it's a challenge. But just be smarter than the bolt, and you'll be good. You'll be good to go. All right, so there you can see I've got all the hardware laid in place. This little son here is a real bear. So you need to have a deep well socket and a U-joint, so you can come at that from a weird angle. But the thing that I wanted to show here is, you notice how I haven't tightened any of these yet? And when you get around to tightening, there's another one that's hard to get to, is this one back here. So when you get to tightening these, you don't want to tighten one of them all the way down. You want to tighten all of them evenly, because it's like a stool. You got three legs. If you have one leg that's longer than the other, then everything is kind of cattywampus. So you want to gradually bring them all up so that you don't use all the threads on one of them, and then that'll give you a good even union with this with that steel joint that goes in between there. So that's the only thing I wanted to make a comment on here is don't run these screws all the way down. Just put them in for a few threads, and then as you start to tighten them all up evenly, so that you don't take up all the threads on just one. So there you go. On to the next one. We'll go ahead and tighten these up a little. You can see I've jimmied the pipe where it's going to go, and I got it propped up again with a 2x4 so that I don't have to jank with it, and it will be where it's going to be when I tighten those in. So that's something to consider. There you go. Resonator pipe is in place. I've got that JB Weld exhaust sealer in there in the joint, and I will be putting a regular joint in, or fastener in here. I'm going to point it directionally instead of pointing it straight down. I've got it set so that I'm going to set it like this. There'll be less nuts and bolts to snag on stuff. I really like the gap. It's a very subtle gap, but it's nice and high up there. It's not going to drag. And I got the bracket here all installed. Everything's happy. There you go. So on to the muffler. There's going to be a custom hanger there, so that's going to be a little bit more complicated install. Well, the mounting bracket on the back of the rear apron, right here's the rear apron of the car. This is where the exhaust hanger would normally be mounted, and there would be, you know, a couple of bolt holes in here where you could mount the bracket, and there's a, you know, place where you can put a wrench from behind. So it's kind of like a little C shape. Anyway, it's pretty badly torn up, so I'm gonna have to fabricate something to use this same area. All right, so since I have to fabricate a different hanger, we're going to hang this instead of on the apron, we're going to hang it on the floor of the trunk. And so since I have to make a custom hanger for this, I am going to remove this complex set of angles here. These are kind of bent downward. I'm going to make these flat, so they'll be like, you know, flat like this, and that will give me a little bit simpler job of setting that hanger in there. As it is, they're actually at different heights too. So anyway, I'm going to simplify that task by just kind of simplifying these angles. So I'm going to go ahead and flatten that out, and then we'll set it back in and mock it up, and then take more measurements. There you go, got the muffler all mocked up in place. Got it kind of spaced off with this little bucket. You see I've got a nice margin there, so I won't have any heat problems with the paint on that apron. The orientation is somewhat level. I don't have a problem with that. It's kind of hard to gauge it because it's car's in the air. But by flattening out those tangs, you can see there, it's really greatly simplified that task. Now, these little rubber bushings, those are not MGB bushings. I found those online. That's from an Audi 900. And so all I need to do is cut away some of this old torn mounting bracket here, and I'll be able to just basically make a single strap with maybe a little bit of a bend in it, and bolt that to the floor of the floor of the trunk, and we'll be good to go. So let's get started with that. Here's a good look at these rubber bushings. See, they're heat resistant, and they'll take the vibration out, so you don't hear it in the car like a drum. But yeah, this is only $4 or $5 a piece. Bought them on AutoZone, so makes it a lot easier when you don't have to ship parts. You can just go pick them up at your local AutoZone. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on getting some measurements and cut that strap. All right, so just a quick video here to capture. This is the damaged hanger mount, and I'm going to put the new hanger right in here. So I just wanted to catch a before, and then we'll mock it up, and I'll do another picture of it after. So there you have it, basic strap. Just needed to get 3/4 of an inch off from the back of these, and that will go in right here. It'll be real easy to connect these from the bottom with some screws, so you don't have to worry about, you know, dealing with anything above the muffler. So that'll be fine. This hole right here is for a stainless steel carriage bolt that I need to mock up one more time so I can drill the hole into the trunk floor, and that will be mounted up in there. And it'll be flat with no head or anything, just a stainless steel carriage bolt showing. There's already a number of bolts showing in there for the gas tank and the trunk the bumper and whatnot. So you won't even know that there's another bolt there. So that's the plan. Let's go ahead and mock it up one more time and then throw that hole in the trunk. Bracket out of 1/8 by 1" weld steel. This is from Home Depot, and it's a little thicker. It makes it a little harder to bend, but that makes it harder to bend. But it's about as thick as you can get and still be able to bend it. If you were to go with something a little bit bigger, like this, you would have to cut it in order to bend it, cut it and weld it. I didn't want to do that. Right, so there you go. That is the new mount. It's got a little stainless steel screw or bolt going through there. It's a carriage bolt, so you don't have to have a nut at the top. And these little bushings are from an Audi. And you can see the old bracket there, all smashed up and useless. So let's go ahead and put this muffler on. Forget to put the goo in there. That to keep it from having any exhaust leaks. Also, you can see I've taken some time and put some high temperature paint on all of those mounting surfaces, including the new bracket. And, we went ahead and put some paint on there to keep it from becoming a rust problem. So 10mm bolts are really easily accessible, so it makes it real easy to install. You just push the thing up and tighten those bolts down and off you go. So that was really convenient. There it is, installed, exhaust installed. This is the Monza exhaust kit. Comes with, I guess you'd call it dual exhaust. It's dual output ports. Just sort of a breakdown of everything that we did. Here's what the custom hanger looks like. It's just a little stainless steel knob right there. That custom hanger was necessary because so the old hanger was torn, so we had to make a custom. The bushings that we used in here were from an Audi 900 that was available through local distribution at AutoZone. The Monza kit was really very nice to work with. Very good fabrication, nicely built. Here you have the union here. I put all my my joint brackets facing upwards so that the nuts and bolts don't grab anything when you're driving. And there you go. Continuing on, this is the rear bracket. And you can see I throw some paint on that to keep it from rusting. The rear bracket, I'll put the part number in there. I got that off of Moss. But the mounting plate for that one was not damaged, so it was not a problem. But the Monza kit fit right up on that, perfect with no problems, no twist or anything. The resonator fits nicely snug. It's not touching, but it's snug. And had to do some minor adjustments to the length of the pipe, and then do a custom pipe expansion. I got a whole video on that. That was quite a fiasco. Going on up to the downpipe, I got a video on how I removed the crush marks from the downpipe, and I covered in this video about how to install the downpipe. All of the unions and joints have the JB Weld exhaust filler, so that we won't have any exhaust problems. Hopefully this video gave you some instruction and maybe answered some questions about whether you can do this in your own garage. I was really happy with the Monza kit. It came out really nice. It was not too expensive, very well manufactured. I'd recommend it to anybody. So there you go. If you like this video, please comment, like, and subscribe. It helps the channel to subscribe so I can get a lot of people on there. And YouTube algorithm will send the video to more folks. So have a good day. Cheers.